Hi! Today I'm going to show you how to make our Diamond Night bracelet. This cuff style memory bracelet is perfect for a night out on the town. So let's take a look at the products and tools we'll need to make it. For this project I'm using size 11 Starlight permanent galvanized round Japanese seed beads. I have 8mm fine silver plate 2-hole GemDuo Czech glass beads. I have a 2.5-inch diameter silver round memory wire bracelet. I have 2-inch 20-gauge sterling silver eye pins. For my tools, I am using round nose, I have chain nose, I have regular wire cutters, and I have memory wire cutters. And I'm also using bead stoppers. You can find links to all these beads and supplies in the description below. So let's get started. So to begin our Diamond Night bracelet, what you're going to want to do is grab your memory wire and grab your memory wire cutters. And we're going to cut 6 pieces of the memory wire that just barely overlaps a little bit. And you want to make sure that you use memory wire cutters when you're working with memory wire, because the way that it is hardened to hold its shape, it will ruin traditional cutters. So just make sure you're using the proper tool to cut this before you get started. So I'm going to go ahead and find the end here, and I'm just going to cut off one wrap that is just slightly overlapping. So I'm just going to bring my cutters in here, and then I'm just going to cut here and there. So I've got one piece here that's slightly overlapping to create my cuff bracelet. And so at this point, then I'm ready to turn a small simple loop at one end of my memory wire. So to do that, you're going to want to take your round nose pliers. You want to grab the tip, and I'm using pretty far down on my round nose pliers because I want my loop to be really small, because we're going to thread on some size 11 seed beads, and we don't want them to slip through that little loop. So just make sure your loop is pretty small, and then just roll it back just to make a simple loop there. So see, I've got my little simple loop, you can see. So there, I've got my first piece done, and I already have some here that I pre-cut and did the simple loop on. So for a total of 6 pieces, because that's going to build the base of our cuff. So you're going to grab your eye pin, and you're going to thread it through these little loops that we just made. So you're going to pick up this first one. So it's just going to sit there. And then that loop from the eye pin will hold that. Then you're going to string on 2 seed beads. And there's a couple of the size 11 seed beads of this finish here that doesn't want to quite go on the memory wire or the 20-gauge eye pin. Just put those aside and then just grab the next bead. So it'll definitely be enough that we'll be able to go on these wires and stuff. So it's just a few of them. They're probably the finish is a little tight there in the center. So I've strung on my second piece of memory wire, and then I'm going to pick up 2 more seed beads here. My seed beads are used on this end here just to kind of break up my spacing for when I string on my GemDuos. And it is a little fiddly getting this part started here, but once we get going, it's not too bad. So I strung on my 2 seed beads. I strung on my third piece of memory wire with the loop, 2 more seed beads, bring those down, put on my 4th thing of memory wire there. And so you can kind of see as it's starting to go, it just kind of fans that out there. And then I'm going to add 2 more seed beads. And add my 5th thing of memory wire, and then 2 more seed beads. And something I probably should have said earlier is when you're turning your loops, just make sure that you're turning them on the outside of the cuff, not to the inner part, because then it would be hitting your wrist. So I strung my last 2 seed beads, and now I've strung on my last row of memory wire there. So see, as you can kind of see there, it's turned out. So my loops are on the outside facing. So now I just want to make sure this is nice and tight at this end here. And then I'm just going to turn a simple loop at the other end of this eye pin. So I'm going to go ahead and just make sure everything's really nice and tight. And now I can use my regular wire cutters because I'm just going to cut this eye pin. So I want to make sure everything's nice and tight here. And then I'm just going to bend it at a 90-degree angle right above that last wrap. And sometimes for my easeability, I just put my thumb on that and then I bend it over, and that kind of gives me a nice like tight edge there. So I've got my little bend. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the tail part here. So leaving just enough to do a wrap. There. I'm just going to trim that up because it kind of cut at a little bit of an angle there. And then you take your round nose pliers, and just like you made the loops on the memory wire, you're just going to roll this back and make a simple loop here on this end. And then just make sure it's nice and closed there. Mine looks like it's still a little open here, so I'm going to just try to get in there and make sure I get everything down. Because you don't want your loop to be open, because then you can see like your beads will start to slide up in there. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. So I'm going to just try to get in there, get it turned down. There we go. All right, so there we've got our spacing. So you got your nice little spacing between there. So now we're ready to start stringing our pattern. And the pattern is you're going to string on these first two wires, you're going to string 3 seed beads each. The middle 2 wires are 5 seed beads each, and then the last 2 wires are 3 seed beads each, and then you string on the GemDuos. So I found when I was working on this project that it's best to just kind of start with 2 rows at a time to kind of keep your pattern going. So I'm just going to hold on to these 2, and I'm going to pick up some seed beads. And I'm just going to string those on there. Just stringing 3 on each one of these wires. And it is a little hard because they're all connected, so it's like you can't really just pick them up like you traditionally do with memory wire, but all right, so that one has 3, and then this last one here just needs 3. All right, so I'm just going to bring those all the way to the end here, just kind of show you where we're sitting here. All right, so those first 2, we've got 3 seed beads each on there. Now I'm ready to string on my GemDuo. And when you string on the GemDuo, they definitely have like a front and a back. You can kind of see like this front here has a little bit more of a taper, like a rounded finish, and the back is very flat. So you just want to make sure that when you're stringing them on there, that you make sure the flat part is towards the back of your bracelet, not towards the front. So then you're just going to string your GemDuo on there onto both of those wires. So you got them both on there, and you just bring them down to your seed beads. And there, so that's kind of our first row. So then our next one, like I said, is going to have 5 seed beads each, and then a GemDuo. And then these last 2 wires will just repeat. It's just this pattern repeated. So now I'm going to work in the middle. I'm going to see if I can just try to pick them up here. Nah, it's too cumbersome. It's a little cumbersome to get started here, but it is a really cute bracelet. It's worth the little extra effort. So I've got 3. I just need 2 more on this row. All right, so that one's got 5, and then this next one needs 5 too. Just make sure that they go all the way down so they don't start to slide back off or anything as you're stringing up your other part there. All right. So this row I'm going to string 5 seed beads. Try it this way. There, it's a little easier. Got 3, 4, and oh, that one doesn't want to go on there. Okay, so I think that's 5. I got to check here because a few popped off there as I was trying to get it to go around. All right, so let's see here if we have 5. This one's got 5, and then that one just has 4. So I'm just going to grab that. Put one more on there. Let's see if I can just pick it up this way. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to bring all those down, making sure I've got 5. And now I'm ready to string on my GemDuo for that row. Again, just make sure when you put on your GemDuo that the curved side is facing out and the flat side is facing towards the inner part of your bracelet. So string it on both of those 2 pieces of memory wire and then just bring it down to the end here. And there you can kind of see our pattern is starting to come together. So see there, it kind of makes like a really cute little pattern. And then these next 2 rows are exactly like the first 2 rows, just 3 seed beads and then a GemDuo. Oop. All right, let's see if I can. It's easier to do it in my hand for some reason. So this one just needs 3. All right, so that one has 3, and then this one I'm going to do 3. All right. I'll bring that to the end, and now I'm ready to put on my GemDuo. And we would just went with a real simple like silver and gold pattern, but you could do this in multiple colorways and different 2-hole beads. You know, maybe if the GemDuos aren't quite your style, maybe you would like the bricks, or really any 2-hole bead could work in this pattern. All right, let's see here. So flipped. Oh, and it looks like I got that one on backwards, so I just have to fix that one. He flipped over. Very slippery today. Hopefully that one's on the right way this time. Okay, bringing them all down there. So there's our pattern. And now at this point you just repeat. So I'm just going to keep adding 3 a GemDuo, 3 seed beads, a GemDuo, and continue on. And then the middle row is just 5 seed beads and GemDuo, 5 seed beads, GemDuo, repeat. And then this row is the same as the first 2, is just 3 GemDuo, 3 seed beads, GemDuo, repeat. So I'm going to do one more pass. Let's see if I can try to pick these up here this way. Sometimes I feel with memory wire, there's really no like easy way to get those beads on there. Sometimes they just kind of want to. All right, so I got those 3 on there. Put on a GemDuo for these 2. Again, just always make sure that you've got it facing the right way. It's easy for it because they'll just want to flip too. All right, those are going to fall off there, aren't they? Like I said, it's definitely a fiddly bracelet. It's not the easiest one to get started by any means. It's a pretty easy pattern, but it kind of does want to keep getting back in on itself. So it's a little cumbersome. Slide that guy on there again. All right, bring it down. Let's see. All right, so I've got that one done. I'm going to do the middle row here. Just going to get 5 on each one. I'll do a 5 on the other row. All right. So there. So this one's got 5, and now I'm ready to put on my GemDuo there. There we go. All right. Just crossed over there a little bit. All right. So I've got that. So my second row is done, and then I just need to do the 3 seed beads each strand, and then add the GemDuo for my last 2 wires. Three on that one, and then pick up 3 for the other one. All right. So that's 3 and 3, and now just want to make sure. It's always like to check and make sure everything's still on there, nothing fell off. All right. So now I'm just ready to add the 2 GemDuos for this row. Again, just making sure that the curved side is on the outside of your bracelet and the flat is towards the center. Unless you like the flat part, I mean, you could definitely put them on that way. There's nothing wrong with that if you prefer that kind of more of a harder edge look on there. So there. So see, this is a really cute pattern. Once you get started and everything, it is a little bit cumbersome to get going, but I mean, it's fun, and it's a kind of a cool little bracelet to wear and everything. So I'm just going to keep repeating this pattern. Again, the first 2, you do 3 seed beads, a GemDuo, 3 seed beads, GemDuo, and repeat. The middle 2 is 5 seed beads, GemDuo, 5 seed beads, GemDuo. And then the last 2 is the same as the first 2, just 3 seed beads, a GemDuo, 3 seed beads, and a GemDuo, and repeat until you get to the end of the bracelet. You want to make sure that you leave enough room so that you can turn a simple loop on the other end of the bracelet, just like we did on this side, because that's how we'll be finishing it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue stringing up my bracelet, and then I'll show you how to finish the other end. So I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and I finished stringing up the rest of my bracelet, and I've already finished the ends of the memory wire just by turning a simple loop with my round nose pliers, just in the same fashion as we did the beginning of our bracelet here. So just to repeat of the pattern here, it's the first 2 rows are 3 seed beads each and then a GemDuo. The middle 2 rows are 5 seed beads each and then a GemDuo. And then the last 2 rows are 3 seed beads each and then a GemDuo. So again, the first 2 rows and the last 2 rows are exactly the same. And then the middle row is the only one that is a little different on this one. So I went ahead and I strung it up. And I've got my ends finished, like I said. So now I'm ready just to put on my eye pin strung through there with the seed beads. So I'm going to string that through that first loop there. And then I'm going to pick up some seed beads. And try not to lose them as I string it through the next little loop there. It's kind of tough. I kind of just put my finger there to kind of hold them on there because it's not the easiest thing to try to get it through the second one on your loops there. So then pick up 2 more seed beads. Then go through the first loop of your next row there. And then pick up 2 more seed beads. And then go through the next loop on that same pass. Again, trying not to lose your seed beads. Sometimes that kind of helps if you just set your finger right there. Just kind of keeps them in there a little bit. And then I've got to pick up 2 more. And then go through the first loop of your first row there. And then pick up 2 more. And then just go through the last loop on that first row here. All right, so just to go back through that, so it's like you grab your eye pin, you string the first loop, add 2 seed beads, then string the second loop, add 2 seed beads, string the first loop of the next row, 2 seed beads, the second loop of the second row, 2 seed beads, and then the first loop of the last row, and then 2 seed beads and the last loop on the last row. So there, I've got that, and it just matches our other side there. So now I'm just ready, like just in the same fashion as we did the first side, is to make a right angled bend there, right at the top, and then turn a simple loop with my round nose pliers. So you just want to make sure that your eye pin is nice and tight up against your bottom loop there. There's no like slack or like spaces there. And then you're just going to want to, I always just kind of put my thumb there to kind of hold the tension, and then I just bend it over at a 90 degrees. And then I'm going to take my regular wire cutters, because I'm just working on the eye pin now. I don't need the memory wires cutters. And I'm going to trim the end here, just to leave enough for me to turn a simple loop. So I'm going to grab my round nose. I'm going to grab the end of that wire that I just cut, and I'm just going to roll it back. And there you go. You've got your little simple loop there on that end. And again, I like my loops to kind of be going in the same direction. So I'm going to adjust it with my chain nose here, but I'm just going to center that loop a little bit better here because it's just a little off-centered there. There we go. Okay. And now this would be ideal if you had 2 chain nose, but I'm just going to use my chain nose and gently use my round nose to just line both of those up so that they're both just going the same direction. Because they probably will move as you wear the bracelet, but it is nice if the loops are just going the same way. That way it just looks really nice and finished. And there you have it. You have this really kind of fun cuff bracelet with memory wire, so it's going to hold its shape. So be sure to check out this inspiration design and many others at fusionbeads.com.